Okay, this is just a quick video that's just going to summarise some of the other impacts or influences on business behaviour. So a whole range of other things can impact the revenue that businesses make, and their production costs. So for example, government rules and policies, so occupational health and safety laws can increase their cost of production and make certain businesses less viable. The minimum wage, which is set by the Fair Work Commission, and the requirement that they pay all their workers superannuation, again that increases their cost of production and can make some businesses less viable. The need for firms to compete fiercely, so the ACCC, or the Australian Competition and Consumer Act, also have a big influence on firms. So we looked at this in class a little bit in terms of the ACCC ensuring that businesses don't have any misleading conduct, that there's no cartel conduct going on, so in terms of like raising prices in unison or restricting output or price signalling and things like this, or predatory pricing. So the ACCC can have an influence on businesses. National product standards, so certain products have to be up to a certain standard, whether that be safety or health and so on and so forth, can affect businesses. There are also the strict requirements that they keep their taxes in order and to ensure that they're paying the appropriate tax, as well as the fact that there's restrictions on the sale of some products like drugs, alcohol and tobacco. So OH&S, minimum wages, the role of the ACCC, national product standards, tax requirements, and restrictions on certain types of production also have big influences on businesses, which make the market less competitive or less free because there's more government intervention. Other things that can affect businesses' behaviour that aren't directly related to the government, the activities of unions. So unions have a very large influence. That may be, unions may be fighting over wages and conditions. So the teachers' union has a big impact on the wages that teachers have to get to be paid, and therefore an impact on the government as the provider of education. Other businesses will also have, like the mining union and so on and so forth. Unions can have a big impact. They can strike, which can affect businesses as well, and that can have a big impact on the operation of businesses. Reports in the media, so positive and negative reports in the media. So for example, if the media reports poor conduct, there might be articles about pollution within industries or the amount of workplace accidents, underpaying certain workers. So there's, Nike's a good example. Nike were outsourcing all their operations to Indonesia, and there was reports of them underpaying workers, and there was documentaries on the working conditions that these people in Indonesia were experiencing, and that affected their profitability. So the poor ways in which they treated their staff had a big impact on how they were portrayed in the media and then their level of sales going forward. So unfavourable reports of things like pollution, workplace accidents, faulty products or unfairly treating staff can have a big impact on consumers' profits and the amount of revenue that they generate. And finally, community attitudes also have a big impact. So, for example, there's been a big focus in the last 20 years about making sure that we're not have a concern over the environmental impacts of production. So, ensuring, with climate change, ensuring we're not depleting natural resources, that we're getting the products meet ethical standards. So, for example, there's a greater focus on providing fair pay for workers, that we're not exploiting certain areas, that we're not cutting down rainforests in essential areas, particularly the overuse of things like palm oil is changing in terms of how much people are paying attention to that. So additionally, business decisions must take into account the multicultural environment in which they operate and the various ways in which the community values certain goods and services and certain things that society values, like preserving the environment and ethical levels of production. Thank you.